What is going on, y'all? Gamers Goon here today, and we have a second chance here at the tournament. I mean, crazy first weekend, right? We have Texas advancing all the way to the Sweet 16. Don't think you'd hear that one, right? Florida being bounced by Iowa. Tennessee, a shocker in the tournament, right? A lot of chalk, a lot of things we predicted, right? Like UConn, Michigan State, we kind of knew that was inevitable. Arkansas almost dropped a high point in a great game. First weekend was absolutely a movie, and we get another weekend of great basketball here this weekend starting tomorrow. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is the start of the games. Thursday, the 26th, we got Arizona, Arkansas tomorrow. Texas, Purdue is tomorrow. Iowa, Nebraska. We'll get to know who wins to face potentially my Illini, who play in the late window tomorrow night. Kind of upset about it, but it is what it is. We're going to have to wait and stay up late on on Thursday night, and then wake up, do the whole ordeal, and go through with my Friday as if Illinois didn't just play one of the biggest games of the year on Thursday night. And hopefully we get to look forward to something on Saturday as well with the Illini advancing. But we'll start off here in the top east corner. We got Duke versus St. John's. Duke has looked shaky. They've looked shaky. I don't know if it's going to pop up in notable matchups. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. Who knows? But St. John's, they've been pretty good. They've been pretty good. But Duke has been a little shaky. Had a scare against Siena. Kind of waited till late to pull away from TCU. St. John's is a significantly better team than TCU. I said the same thing about TCU going up against Duke. That Duke struggled with Siena. That TCU is a significantly better team than Siena. St. John's, I'm afraid there is some weaknesses to be exploited here with the Duke guards potentially kind of being a little lackluster right now without Caleb Foster, but I am selecting Duke to advance. I just think at the end of the day, you got to rock with Duke. You got to rock with Cam Boozer. You got to rock with Isaiah Evans. I just think that it's too good of a team here for St. John's to come up and beat. But St. John's also beat UConn by 20, so don't be surprised. Zuby Ejiofor, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Next, we get Michigan State versus UConn. This will be another good game. Michigan State, a very physical team. UConn, a team that's at times kind of struggled this year. And I don't think they're a good matchup for Michigan State. I think Michigan State is the team more willing to kind of play like, right, they lost by, 20 to St. John's. I think Michigan State can make UConn a little bit more uncomfortable than St. John's was able to make UConn uncomfortable. I think this one is going to be closer than that St. John's game because obviously higher stakes. It's going to be close. But I think Michigan State's able to do enough to make UConn uncomfortable enough to lose that game, kind of force their guards to make some mistakes, maybe force Solo Ball into some shots, maybe force Silas Demery into some shots as well. Next, we get to Arizona versus Arkansas. This is going to be a good game. Also, Arizona playing great basketball at the moment, to be honest with you. Then you got Arkansas. Hey, if you don't know, now you know. Darius Acuff. This guy is a beast. If Darius Acuff was not on this Arkansas team would not be here. They would not be here. High Point would have won that game if Darius Acuff just ceased to not be on this team. If he was still in high school, if he was already in the NBA, or if he was at some other school, Arkansas would have been bounced. They had to rely on their, not future, well, I guess it is a future lotto pick. He's going to be a future lotto pick. He's a top 10 pick in this year's class. They had to rely on him. I think if you're struggling with High Point, you're going to run out of answers here against Arizona. I'm taking Arizona to win. Next, we get Texas versus Purdue. I don't know what to expect out of this. I have been shaky on this Texas team. I don't want to pick them to win, but it is hard to say they can't, right? This kid right here, Vukatitis, he has been a beast. Nobody wants to go in the paint with Vukatitis. Seems like he's always getting a hand on a shot or he's always working down low. He's been having a great tournament. Dalen Swain himself has been having a great tournament. We haven't even really talked about Jordan Pope, another guy on this team, having a great tournament and hitting shots when needed. Purdue, they're Purdue, right? This is a team that you kind of know what you're getting with. Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Wren. You're going to get the whole rundown. It's a Purdue team that really hasn't been anything different, right? You need to get your guards hitting threes. You need to get Trey Kaufman-Renn involved early. That's kind of the motto here with Purdue. Fletcher Loyer, obviously, was somebody that can go off for them as well, but I think really the unknown with Texas is tempting me to pick Texas. I'm gonna land with Purdue, but it is tempting to go Texas there. Next, we get Iowa versus Nebraska. I think this is going to be a good game. Iowa upsetting Florida. Congrats to Iowa getting the job done. Nebraska should be thanking the Lord of basketball. Whoever controls the basketballs and pumped the basketballs in their last game saved them. I saw something going out before the games about how the balls in certain cities are more inflated than the others. Well, guess what? Nebraska was playing in the city with the most inflated ball. And guess what happened? You had the Vandy kid, the Vandy point guard. He shot a half-court shot, rimmed in and out. Hit the rim too hard, bounced out. If the air pressure is any different, who's to say that doesn't go in? So Nebraska hanging on by the skin of their teeth. And then you got Iowa doing the same thing against Florida. It always seemed like Iowa was going to come out of this game. Then they kind of started to give it out to Florida. Florida went up late. Who's the coach there? I can't think of their coach's name off the top of my head. I really can't. But anyways, he drew up a play where they got the ball to, I don't even know if his name's going to pop up. Yeah, it's not going to pop up. They got the ball to not Bennett Sturts, right? Bennett Sturts, he's your guy. I figured you rely on him in the moment. You didn't. You relied on what? I think maybe your second or third guy in terms of scoring. Hits a big three, takes the lead. Florida never gets a shot up. I'm taking Iowa to win. They look good against Florida. Nebraska looks shaky there against Vandy. Should have probably lost that game. I'm taking Iowa to win that one. Then I got to pick between my heart and my head. My head's telling me Houston. My heart's telling me Illinois, obviously, right? Like, I am an Illinois fan through and through. If you can beat them in Houston, if you can beat Houston in Houston, by the way, a little unfair, but who am I to say? But if you can beat Houston in Houston, if you are Illinois, and I am an Illinois fan, so if you are Illinois, you play Nebraska, who you split the season with, and Iowa, who you beat. You're one game away against teams you've already beat from a Final Four in Indianapolis. And I don't know if you know this, but Illinois is not far from Indianapolis. I will be at that game if this game right here, if Illinois is beating Houston, there is a good chance tomorrow night I'm booking tickets to the Final Four, just hoping that they beat Iowa and or Nebraska. With that being said, I'm getting myself excited for an Illinois win. I have been through this before with Illinois. Loyola Chicago, I thought it was the year. The Terrence Shannon year, I thought it was the year, right? Ran into UConn. I'm used to this. I'm taking Houston. I've had enough failures here with the Illini. I'm not going to get my hopes up too much. But just know, I will be there at the Final Four if they make it. My heart is telling me Illinois. My head is telling me Houston, right? Kingston Flemings, Keaton Wagler, it's going to be a movie. You're going to find out who's getting picked first here in the upcoming NBA draft. One or the other. They're kind of going to go in the same range. This game has a huge determining factor if one goes before the other. This is going to be a crucial game. I'm hoping my Illini pull it out, but I am taking Houston to win. Hopefully there's some reverse psychology to this, right? I'm always like superstitious. Don't want to pick my Illini to win this game. Because if I do, I know they're going to lose. I know they're going to lose if I pick them. So, Illinois fans, lay off me for a little bit. I'm hoping to kind of reverse psychology our way into a victory here against Houston. But Illinois versus Houston, it's going to be a fun game nonetheless. Michigan versus Alabama. Alabama, wow. I was shocked watching Alabama. I did not think they would handle business the way they did last round, but they handled business. And then you got Michigan. Well-oiled machine. Alabama, I think this is where you really start to see their guard who is out right now. I think this is where you really start to see kind of the effects here from Aiden Holloway being off of the court. And then just too many big man answers. You got Adai Mare, you got Morez Johnson. Obviously, you got Yaxel, who's he's a three-man, but he played center at UAB. It's a big guy playing. It's a big roster. I don't think Alabama has the answers. I'm taking Michigan to win there. Tennessee versus Iowa State. I kind of want to go upset here. I don't love it in my head, and I don't fully know if Joshua Jefferson is playing. But I can tell you this, Joshua Jefferson got hurt, and that gives Tennessee some hope. And I might be barking up the wrong tree and making something out of nothing, right? But Tennessee handled business with Virginia. That's something I didn't think they'd do. Iowa State, I think they are a really good team. I was one before the tournament ever began, and they still had Iowa State on the 3 line. I'm like, they're a 2-line team, and they were. Iowa State versus Tennessee. I like this Iowa State team, but it needs to be fully healthy going into this game. It's not. So with that being said, I'm going to take Tennessee to get the job done. I don't love taking Tennessee. I've been advised by my friend Cam, who is a Tennessee fan, that he thought Sweet 16 might be the peak of Tennessee's season. I'm going against them. I'm taking them to make it to the Elite Eight. Duke versus Michigan State. I think this is going to be a really good game. This is a game where I think maybe you see the guard struggles of Duke really start to come out. And I don't know if Caleb Foster would even be predicted to ever come back here in the next few games. But you really feel the impact of him being out if you have Caden Boozer out there the whole time. Nothing against Caden Boozer. I think him for 40 minutes is just something that you don't necessarily need. But Duke has to rely on it right now, right? Like, they have to go to Caden Boozer for pretty much the whole game because they don't have a second option. You're gonna run Caden Boozer into the absolute ground heading into this Michigan State game. Then you're gonna play Michigan State, and I don't know if you know this, but Michigan State knows how to get after you. You watch how they played Keaton Wagler in the game against Illinois earlier this season. They made Keaton Wagler not necessarily a non-factor, but they wore him out. If you can do that to Caden Boozer, Michigan State's got a chance. Maybe Cam Boozer's enough to get the job done. Maybe Isaiah Evans is enough to get the job done. I just think those guards on Duke right now are going to struggle against a defense like Michigan State's. Then you got Iowa versus Houston. Like I said, I want this to be Illinois so bad. I think Illinois, if they can get past Houston, have a really, really good chance to get past either of these teams and make it to the Final Four. Unfortunately, I have Houston winning. Houston will beat Iowa. I think that will be the end of Iowa's Cinderella story, but it was a valiant effort. Big win against Florida. Thank you for coming and making the weekend memorable. Arizona versus Purdue. I think this would be a very underrated game. I don't have this game fully, like, I'm 100% confident in Purdue. I got to take Arizona just because I think Arizona's more likely to make it, but could be a fun game here. This very well could be Texas, though, the way Texas is playing. So, I mean, I would still take Arizona to beat Texas, just so we're clear. But I am taking Arizona kind of just assuming that maybe Texas could win that game. Michigan versus Tennessee. I think, once again, thank you for coming, Tennessee. It was a nice story while it lasted. The story is over, and we got a Final Four here of a 3, a 2 seed, a 1, and a 1. Arizona versus Michigan. I am taking Arizona. I've been real high on Arizona all year. Kind of unfortunate that they're on the same side as Michigan because Michigan's also a team I've been on all year. Michigan State versus Houston. I think here Houston gets back to the championship, and then we have Arizona beating Houston there. I don't really care how many points. We're going to go with 123. Anyways, let me know down below who your national champion is. Let me know down below who you think, if there is a Cinderella story still to be cooking, are any of them going to make it to the Final Four? If not, let me know. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.